Welcome back. More Combine games coming your way. Bakasora versus Ao Guang. On your screen, you'll see hi-rez, Lazy, Appointed Gnome, Dazetti, Onyx, and across the way, we'll see Gmork, Warlock, Pain, Mazog, Princey, and Snowist. So at the start, we can see the group up of both the two teams, actually. Only Sylvanas was very, very late out of base there, which is unusual. Maybe some connection issues. We'll just put it down to that for now because normally he wants to be out a little bit quicker.
I think he bought a ward and then backed. Did he place that ward? No, it's bugged. It's not showing who placed the wards right now. I think he placed the ward on his own.
Rewind, because that's kind of important because I want to see if he's actually done that.
Yeah, so let's see what he buys here at the beginning. He might just buy a ward and run to lane. He bought a sentry. Okay, I'm a little interested in that. Yeah, so
I like that play. He
placed the sentry there and then he backed.
Alright, that's really advanced. You know why? Because of the fact that that's a general normal warding spot that you'd expect to see the enemy support.
For sure.
So that's one of these plays that might not work out for you, but it's logical thinking about it. I'm not sure about the multi potions though. Personally, I don't know if you really need the multi potions. He could have just gone 3 mana and sustained through. Sylvanas is very good for that. The multi potions are less effective on both health and mana. He probably would have been better with the multi potions there. Sorry, with the mana potions than going multi. But the decision of the sentry there, really cute. It's a shame he doesn't get anything for it just to show his strength. But he now knows that they've got no vision of the blue buff. What they could elect to do because of this, though, out of interest, they could do back harpies because they know they've got no vision. And they know they're going to be delayed or invaded on to an extent because they've got no vision.
I don't know if you noticed it already, but it's a Chronos ADC. You're going to see a Chronos in the Hunter role for this game. So that's... I've never seen this lane, so back Chronos, so this is going to be interesting, this duo lane. I'd like to see how it goes.
Like we saw, like when we discussed in the Combine yesterday in North America, I'd like to see people playing their strongest gods, and Masog's playing a diamond, Chronos in this lane. So he understands the god well. You should be trying to show off your abilities and showing something that's going to be slightly different, especially with Season 2 on the horizon as well, and we don't know, what's going to be the strong duo lane matchups. It's going to be interesting to see how these two perform against the super sustain of Sobek and Apollo in this lane.
Yeah, we'll see. This is, I think Sylvanas is still going to dominate this lane. There's no reason they shouldn't. Chronos' clear isn't super good early on. He gets there about level 6 or 7. He'll be able to time rift the wave, basically. But until then, his slow is going to be a little weak.
The only one thing that benefits this lane is like Sylvanas and Apollo will push it up, which means Sobek can try and flip them into tower and cause issues, especially on Sylvanas, who's very slow and ambling. But they can get abused like they are doing right now in the lane and pushed under tower consistently. It's about not taking too much poke and not dying in the early stages. And make sure they keep an eye on their own red buff too, because the potential of invades are always available, especially now that Thor's rotated as well.
Yeah, so Thor, Nemesis rotated early, but actually missed part of a wave. Meanwhile, Thor finished off his wave and immediately rotated. So he is a little bit ahead in experience. He's almost level 4 here. You can see a Nemesis not even level 3, just hit level 3. So she didn't rotate when she ideally should have, because you want to finish the wave and then rotate, because early on the levels are more important than anything else. You're not going back and buying gold 1 through 5 or buying items 1 through 5. You're continuing to farm, so getting a level or 2 ahead, as it looks like, it looks like the Apollo lagged out there.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of jumpy on my end of the spectator mode as well. But one thing I want to know is that the red team were a little bit delayed on leaving this lane. The Thor and Poseidon did a good job of pushing it on the tower, and red team were a little bit late round on their red buff. They're going to get back at the same sort of time though, into the mid lane, and Thor's going to go straight for his speed. He should hit 5 off this soon, but he's already rotating left. How did Masog get a kill?
Not sure. Let's roll that back.
How is that possible?
It looks like they're getting out pushed, which is pretty surprising here. It looks just like Sobek is going to pull. I'm a little surprised that this lane is getting pushed out here.
Yeah, they got pushed out. The rotation... We'll watch it from here now. So, the game focused down quite a lot. I mean, the clear is being pretty effective from that. The pull gets missed from Sylvanas. He also throw the root out and the heal. Now he's got no cooldowns, does this Sylvanas? He's the one that gets picked.
Yep.
If you spam your abilities like that, you can get yourself caught out of position because they know to go aggressive. This was just good play from Mazak and Gmork here to realise that and to apply the pressure the moment they knew he had no cooldowns available. Obviously, don't forget Sobek does have the Sickening Strike, which reduces healing too. And that plays into a strength against Sylvanas once again.
Yep,
Right.
for sure.
So far, it's going to be interesting to see if this Kronos could take that early advantage and sort of snowball and transition that onto the Apollo and really make it so if he goes for that ulti, it will pressure him. You know, he won't be able to ulti for free.
Yeah, it's going to be
slow
just
down
his,
rotations.
his itemization on the Chronos as well is one thing, because what they're currently doing is they're playing on an unusual lane that we don't see very much or haven't seen very often, and so they're psyching out their opponents, which is something that can happen in play to try something different and try and see if it works out. But the itemization is going to come into play now to do with how he's going to try and deal with that. It looks like he's going Warlock Sash. If he does, I like it because he's stacking. Plus, he can stand and bang with the Apollo a little bit more just because he's got that extra health in his kit as well. And against Sylvanas too.
Right. So we see the left mid camps go down uncontested. That's going to put Sylvanas behind just a little bit more, especially if this
solo.
Thor takes them solo here.
He does.
So
he
that-
does. I don't even think.
I
we
think
saw
Poseidon got
get any of
one.
that. Maybe he got the edge of it. Sylvanas didn't get anything out of that, which is unfortunate for him as well. He was late on the rotation anyway. I'm not going to blame the jungler or the mid laner for that one. Good hammer. Jump 2, but it's a Giannis and there's not much else coming from it.
Yeah, the solo lane. Let's take a look at their builds really quick here. And oh, Baka just back for the first time, so that doesn't really help too much, right? We do see, or he elected not to back. He has Hog 2 though. How do you feel about the Hog 2 pickup?
It's gonna work against this Osiris. He's gonna be able to hog the wave and look to poke the Osiris out pretty early, and we actually see heavy rotations coming out from blue team, looking for that speed.
Okay.
They can do this because of the map presence at the moment they have on the map as well. It's a bit risky from Sylvanas to be over here though because
Great
Apollo's
portal.
in trouble against his Chronos over in this duo lane. But this invasion for speed is worthwhile as long as Apollo understands that, and he has to. They've got no real wall coverage on the Gold Fury at the moment, but with speed and blue being up, red shouldn't really be looking for the gold there.
Yeah, so, you know, taking a look then back into the mid lane. Yanis, a little bit behind here.
Oh, we got his
Cross
eyes.
is
Can we
doing
rewind
work.
that? Did you catch that?
Yeah, he
wasn't
was just. I think he just got
Chronos is
poked out.
doing work.
He was sitting on the edge of this for a while. I think the Kronos is doing a good job of keeping him poked out. Oh, he dashes in. That is an interesting decision, to say the least.
So I'm still trying to catch up to you, so I'm gonna go ahead and look over here and see what really happens.
So right now the Apollo can't full clear wave. That's for sure. He's just the Kronos is just hitting his abilities.
He got stunned mid dash too.
That was like a respect.
Right.
Like a
That-
respect from Lazy there. Lazy needs to make sure he works on understanding the gods he's going to be against in lane. Even though it's an unusual composition, he should still have understanding of a god at this sort of level of play.
Right.
To be able to deal with the situation that he's in. You know, like he's going to face Chronoses at some point in time. He just didn't respect it enough in that situation. That's why he gets punished for it.
Yeah.
I like the decision from Masog here and Sobek to come over and invade the blue buff now that they know it's available. Because off the back of that, they know their blue is up and they're abusing that situation
Great.
fantastically.
Yeah, and the Sylvanas can't do anything over there. Sylvanas is heavy rotated and he's kind of left this Apollo out to dry. And because the Apollo, it's kind of like a weird situation right now. Because the Apollo is so far behind, he needs help from Sylvanas. But at the same time, if he's leeching off Sylvanas too much,
Exactly.
it's a very hard thing to know what to do as support.
Gmork's
in
in a
these
bit of trouble
situations.
here. This is a good rotation from Thor too, but they're choosing two different targets at the moment. With Nemesis coming in, I think blue team could get punished for this. And it looks like they're going to. Thor's going to have to all out.
Yasuo just
Kraken's
barely.
coming. I can see a Kraken coming.
That's a great Kraken.
make
That
an
is
impact.
the Thor's decision to
Huge.
come back down was fantastic. Even though there wasn't much he could do, and if they went on him, he would have died.
It's about the stun, right?
It was
I mean,
it was about the stun, setting it up and securing the Kraken.
There was a lot of misplays from both teams there. Thor was going on to Kronos. The AD carry of Lazy and Desetta and the Sylvanas were focusing on Sobek on the front lines. And then at the other side, you also saw the rotation from red team, which was good. But then they knew Poseidon was coming. Red team should have recognized that Poseidon was on his way in. They had the wall coverage. When Princey turns up on that Giannis, they should have known the Kraken boy was on his way, so they shouldn't have grouped, and they did so and got punished for it.
Again, we see Thor take half of the left mid camp solo, and Poseidon was on his way there. He just DPS'd him a little too fast and didn't hold it for his mid laner there. It's just, I don't know. That's been a thing we've been seeing a lot, and both NA and EU really is just teams aren't really familiar with sharing the XP camps, I guess. And I'm not sure if that's due to the players or, you know, they're just not trusting each other. Something, you know, it could be any of that, really. But that's something that I really want to see a lot of these players start doing.
Yeah, what are the numbers?
Yeah,
60% effectiveness, but you're getting it on 2 people.
Right.
So you're making the camps worth 20% more by splitting the camps, and then you split the waves as well. So you're literally making more experience and gold around the map by splitting these camps.
If you do that, and if you don't do that, you're like not putting it to its full potential. You lose your team experience lead that they had by getting the mid camps in the first place. So,
But
completely agree.
at the same time, if you take them solo, but the other person is getting farmed somewhere else on the map, let's say like an empty lane or something like that, it's worth it because then you know you're losing 100% of that farm, right?
Yep.
So it really comes down to where exactly you are on the map and what you're trying to do. But when you're that close, it really hurts to not get the XP.
This Baka's really controlling this Osiris. Pretty hard.
Yeah. I saw that earlier. He forced, like, just a minute ago, he forced him to back.
Yeah, he's forced him to back
pressured under tower
multiple times.
with his ultimate.
I'm surprised his gold lead isn't as far ahead. Only 200 gold at 8 minutes. Well, that is good considering he's forced him to back 2 or 3 times. I think he should be a little bit further ahead.
Right.
I think the difference is that what's happening here is that Baka went back to base early, got the Witchblade online before Osiris, punished him out of lane. Osiris has now come back to base, come back with boots and with Witchblade. Expect to see that Osiris might start bullying backwards again now onto a pointed gnome now that it's even, and you can see that right now in your screen as he's starting to bully him as much as possible, keep the pressure on him. But a pointed gnome understands that that's all Osiris has, and he's going to turn back around and keep the pressure on. So it's a backwards and forwards lane 5-5 matchup, as you know, I
don't like this Baka backing right now. That was a very poor decision. His ult was up and Thor was coming right on top. That was not good map awareness or communication from their
Boots
team.
For Boots 2, I don't think it was really wise from a point to do that. He could have been better with that. He also might lose the blue buff there, and it looks like Osiris was looking for it then.
Yeah, he just missed the spawn of it as he was walking away. Meanwhile, this Apollo's in a lot of trouble again. I think he's just getting bullied out of lane. He doesn't have any ward coverage, so Sobek ran under him. This Thor needs to be very careful. He has to know Kronos is rotating in.
And
Great
Kronos
Kraken.
is pretty big at this stage. Good Aegis. Can the rewind save him? No. Onyx does bring down that kill. That's big for the team of red. Play for blue. Because if they didn't manage to get that kill, they probably would have lost Gold Fury here. Thor goes back in aggressively
Did he
when
cancel?
he was about.
Did he cancel
sure.
his spin? I think he canceled his spin. But at the very least, the dot from Sylvanas will pick up the Nemesis.
Well, Apollo's coming in too, though, trying to make a play. But he's now out of mana in tower range. He's got enough of the moves to get out again. Okay. Can they do gold from this? Blue should really do gold right now.
Yeah, Baka's
They have the
rotated. They have
opportunity.
to do it. There's no reason. This is going to be free. The Giannis can't contest it. His ult's down. They don't have an Athena. Meanwhile, Osiris chose not to rotate it. At this point, he should be taking this tower. If
Yeah, he has no choice now.
Yeah. If you don't rotate with the Baka, you have to get a tower. And if you're not
Exactly,
getting
you
a
have to.
tower, it's bad. So
But it's still not worth coming out from him as well. It looks like we might see Princey get picked in mid hit. Now he's going to get out. But
he should have
Osiris'
stole this
decision
blue
there-
by now, though. I don't know why he
Well,
hasn't
Osiris
stolen
got
this blue.
500 gold for the team, and Blue managed to get 1,500 gold from that. So that was a big difference in terms of experience. Thor gets caught
Thor
again.
win. I think he got a little greedy going for the Giannis. The Giannis escaped with just barely any health.
So we're talking about the gold difference that you get between towers and Gold Fury, but something else to take note is what towers give you, and that's map control.
Yes.
And it allows you to rotate, right? So at the same time, it could free up the Baka to rotate a little bit more. So it's gonna be very dependent on who could really get those better rotations, and the Osiris or the Baka, and if they both rotate at the same time, who is gonna translate better into team fights.
Well, what should be happening now is Asari should be the one rotating when he pushes up the lane to put pressure elsewhere.
Right.
Baka should then has to make the decision this time round of whether to take the tower or rotate. He has to rely on his team to be in the correct position. He needs to call out when Osiris leaves the lane to try and abuse it.
I like this decision from Kronos to roam into the speed. The problem is no one's backing him up right now, and he's put himself in an awkward spot. He should get out of it, but it's something that could have been very dangerous. It's something that his team should have backed him up on, I think, more so.
Well, Thor's going up. They're going to fight this. I don't know what they're fighting over here right now. There's nothing to fight over.
I think they want to force a fight. They have Kraken available. Yeah.
But why? I'm not sure why you would want to fight in this situation.
No, Kraken's down. They can't fight. They have to back off now. That Apollo shows a very, very poor path. He's going to have to beats the slow, but he's
Apollo's
still going to
gonna run
fall.
away.
Yeah, that Apollo chose a very poor path.
Red's decision to now fight is okay because it now
Yes.
makes sense, but
No,
they
it's-
shouldn't be fighting in this one at the same time anyway. Like, this whole fight should never have begun. There was nothing to fight over from either team. It was Blue that initiated it for the most part, and now it's Red that are like kind of punishing him for it.
So mid lane, you know, we had another big gank come out here. Let's see if they're going to be able to pick up this Sobek too. Good wall coming out. Just barely not able to get that.
When it comes to the Ryer up, I mean, looking through this game so far, for me, Kronos has stood out pretty well. I mean, Masog, he's done something different. I don't think I've really seen too many mistakes coming out from the Sobek either. I know he's 0-2-6, but it's fine to die as a support if your team's going to get some sort of lead out of this, and they've had it for the most part. I mean, Golden Experience at the moment is still an even game.
Yeah, so the one who stood out to me the most, I think, is the Baka pressure. But the problem is I don't think he's making the right decisions after getting ahead.
I don't agree, because he just got a pick kill then. He's just rotated for Gold Fury earlier on if he gets out of this situation. I don't think Gnome's played this too bad. He could have played it better, I guess, in some circumstances, but he's not played it really weak.
I think he's good mechanically, like he's controlling the lane, but there's many times where he should have, at least earlier on, right now he's doing a great job, but earlier on there was many times where I think he should have put more pressure onto the buffs. But mechanically, this guy is good, and I think with better decision making.
We're about 15 minutes in now, and like we got to see the first 15 minutes of this game. However, we're going to turn to one of the Scouterinos once again, get their input on the game of what they saw from this one. And this time round, it's F Swaggy D. How you doing,
You
sir?
forgot the dot. in
F
there.
dot? F dot's here?
Oh God, you
F-
guys,
F
how you guys
dot
doing today?
swag.
F dot's.
Doing
You have
great,
to
how are you?
make sure to spell out the dot, though.
Oh, DOT?
You guys are absolutely the worst. Anyway, this game has been far from it though. This game is a really tight one of the more interesting ones we've seen in our combine. Actually, I didn't fall asleep during it. It was very entertaining watching the back and forth. You know, you were talking about Bakasura just now, weren't you, Adonis?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, and you were talking about mechanics.
Yes.
Sticking to the mechanics, I want to talk about our Chronos here, Masag.
Yeah, he seemed to be really controlling that duo.
Yeah, I mean, he's controlling the duo. One thing that I really liked is that Gamork was playing a really good Sobek, and made a couple of correct decisions, and Masag was able to really work with him and really create opportunities, but he's also able to do it by himself. I do ask the question, is it just Kronos because he's Diamond? But those type of mechanics seem to be transferable, so I want to see more from Masag, but I like what I've seen.
Was there anyone else on anyone on the blue team or other members that you saw in the game after that like kind of stood out for you that you'd like to see more of, maybe in Challenger or even in SPL standards in the future?
Honestly, Gamork, I talked about him very slightly because he's over there in the dual lane with Masag. Great decision making. Playing Sobek going in for the pull is very. You got to make sure you go at the right time, right? And he made the correct decisions a number of times. We watched him sacrifice himself for his hunter early on, around the 7-minute mark. He died to let Kronos get away to safety, and that sort of decision making and willingness to sacrifice yourself for the team is really what you want to start with as a support player.
As we just saw on the screen, then Princey the God actually, Princey made a really big play there at the Gold Fury. Actually cleans up the kills as well, gets a double for his team and secures that Gold Fury thanks to that big engagement. So that wasn't so bad. As a heads up, though, I thought was there anyone from the other side, from the blue team that you saw? Sorry, not blue team, from red team. Like I just mentioned, Princey for one because he seemed to play pretty well just then. Was there anything else? Sorry, I'm so confused with the teams for some reason. I don't know why. Blue team. Was there anyone on blue team that stood out for you at all left up?
Honestly, I'll give Thor props. Again, I like the mechanics from Bakasura, but he made a lot of. It wasn't that he made questionable decisions. It was that he wasn't making the decisions he should have been. I think Adonis sort of referenced that he was pressuring the lane, but like not doing anything with it. And that sort of is the difference, between good and great. And maybe that's a growing point, but I don't know. I liked some of the things that Thor was doing. I thought his mechanics they left some to be desired. Let's put it that way. But he made some interesting choices that looked strange but wound up being correct. And those choices are usually the good ones because they keep everybody on their toes. He needs to fix up his mechanics and hit his buttons right, and we might see something come out of him.
So
Awesome.
Masog was definitely your star of this game, though? The Kronos
Yeah.
Hunter? Okay. Yeah,
Kronos
I
and
felt
a
very
close follow
similarly.
by Gamork. That dual lane in general, not just together but separately, Masog and Gamork are definitely my two takeaways from this matchup.
Awesome.
Well, guys, that's what we've had from this game. We'll be back with another replay shortly, bringing in another scout after. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Yet another Combine game on your screens. Giannis versus Artemis. We're going to see Aiden Avledon, Nem to Domki, Kretiyu, Typhlosion, Gale Force. And across the way, we'll see Dandy on Nah, Ketchup for the win, Dido, BM Harley, and your daddy.
I like how you said that.
I really like how you said that.
I'm sorry, I just want to cast. Like, I like analyzing, but when you're watching these games, I just want to cast them. And it's just habit,
It's just it's your
Excitement,
nature.
hype.
Yeah, but you just
Exactly, I'm
love
just naturally
analyzing,
hype.
dude.
I don't mind analyzing, honestly, but it's difficult for me. I don't really like criticizing. I just like talking about the good stuff, But sometimes criticizing really does help these players learn and get better, and hopefully we'll get to see them and I get to cast them in the future when they get better.
So we're actually going to see an Athena jungle come out here. So this is... if you do Athena jungle, you have to have good communication. And so I'm expecting them to have good communication. And their team is very, very all in. They don't have any backline, really. I mean, they
It's
have
not
Osiris,
Athena jungle.
Zhong, Athena,
It's not Athena jungle. That's an Athena solo. Just so you know.
Ares. Okay. Oh, I can see. You're right.
Athena solo.
This is why we need you, Hindu.
I just know EU, and I know a lot of the players in this game have been around for a while. Some of them I know better than others, but a lot of... Let me do some names here in all honesty. Look at the left of the side, this invasion coming out from blue team already.
I like that. Pressure them off the blue. Don't give it to on her early. They didn't have
They pushed
to...
them off it because Catch Up for the Win went for the incon start and went and hogged the back camps. But in doing so, it means that they got pressured off their own blue buff, which was really nice from both teams. There's no ward coverage from blue team now. That's my only concern right now. They were very slack on the wards, and that was a lucky play really from Kretiyu to go over to the blue buff early on and try and get that good.
So I don't think Athena's going to have a very good time against this Arachne. I feel like this Arachne is really going to bully Athena. Athena's like main thing in Soul Lane is she actually does a ton of damage.
Burst.
Yeah, if she can combine the Confound and the Taunt. Or the Shield Wall and the Taunt.
Burst is what Athena brings, but the thing is, Arachne brings sustained damage.
Exactly.
And I think that's the difference. But she brings sustain in her kit as well. At the moment, though, she took a lot of pokes from
a lot
archers
of-
there for
yeah.
free, trying to trade it back. That could actually be punished, because if Ty can realise that or Typhlosion can realise that, he could go with the preemptive strike. Don't forget that he's as slow as well. Osiris and Athena doing good work in this lane.
Yeah, I'd say this Arachne Thor definitely had the advantage, but they got pressured out because they focused a little bit too much on trying to poke out. They took all that archer damage.
This was, looking at the team comp coming out from blue team as well, it's like they expected an Athena jungle, and it was an Athena solo lane. That's what it feels like to me. And I think Osiris was probably picked earlier on for the jungle.
For sure.
Seemed to be the game plan. And then maybe Arachne was picked into that, but it's not going to be against what it was expecting. And that, I think that plays into also the part of what Typhlone's picked in this Athena, going for the Witchblade early to make sure she's got some sustain against this and some extra protections to deal with it. So itemization and like composition decisions from blue team. I don't really like to go into composition too much because we don't get to see their thought process, but It's not the worst in
Early
the world. This is over.
rotations.
This is over aggressive from blue side here. I think they should get punished for this now. This is a great rotation from red side. This is one reason you should goddamn warden your games. They get out.
That was a bad wall.
Yeah.
That was a really bad
but
wall.
look at Poseidon. Will Poseidon be able to find the crack?
He does have Kraken available if he stays here, but I don't think Blue's going to be pushing up at all, even though they don't have wards. Yeah, they're going to... He could have got punished, but the Poseidon backed off, had to go back to his mid wave, make sure not to miss farm.
This was a bad mistake from red team overall, honestly. Blue
I
team were
agree.
out of position. Dandy missed the wall, which is okay. I mean, you miss walls sometimes, but then he could have jumped to his hammer and put damage on. The team could have still collapsed. The moves was already used by Apollo there as well. There wasn't a whole lot crazy you could do about that on that Ares. And with Poseidon, if he would have flanked around the back, they could have got a kill out of that still, but they gave up. They gave up on it, and that was the worst decision they could have made, was giving up on that. They still could have got something out of it. The good news is, though, by not giving up on it in a weird way, they now have Kraken available, the best team fight mechanic, best ultimate in the game for the level 3, for the 3-minute mid harpy.
for sure.
And I like the decision from blue team to poke at it and give it up straight away and realize not to contest that one against the Kraken that's available.
So I think this Arachne has a really good time in this lane, but she's not doing very well in it. I actually just watched her take the second tick of shield wall for no reason. She wasn't CC'd in any way. She just stood in it, and the first hit does a decent amount of damage, but it's the second hit of shield wall that really bursts you. And the fact that you're taking that for no reason other than you didn't want to move out of it and you were really low to begin with is very not the best.
I do agree. The one thing about this Athena solo as well, this was brought about by Aero over on EU to play the Potato Boys.
I did it in North America in ranked
Well,
games.
Well,
like
we'll go back to
months ago.
normal things like actual real games, not North America. We're honest, we're
my
getting you now,
God.
son. I'm just going to let you know, okay? Not your, scrubby North American games. But Aero was the first one to bring it out, and a few people adopted this style because they realized it's actually a lot stronger than people realize for rotations on the map. So
sure.
keep an eye to see if he can abuse that. But at the moment, this is a good invade coming out from Arachne and Thor. Thor's not really following up correctly, I feel. He could do more. He's kind of just watching this at the moment, waiting for the opportunity to get a double wall. And instead, they're just taking free poke down for no reason. Now he's going to engage, though, which is the correct decision, but the taunt is going to punish them. And this fight is not
Great
going in
wall.
red team's
He doesn't
favor.
have an
It's a
ult.
good
He's going to
wall, though.
die there. But this Athena, he goes up in the air. I don't think they should fight this Athena. There's no way they're
They
going to
can't
kill
kill
her. Yeah, she's too tanky.
Can we rewind back now because that fight is
And watch
should be
left.
over.
Yeah, let's watch the
We
left
should
fight
rewind
here.
because there was a Kraken that went off, and it looks like there's a Goal Fury attempt as well that comes out from this team based off that fight on the
Yeah,
right
so we
side.
see another rotation from the Poseidon. They're just going to contest the blue. They're going to go for the... I don't think they knew Poseidon was at this. Now they see him. This Ares is going way too hard. Yeah, he tried to defend that buff, but wasn't in the best spot for it. He didn't get his ult off either. I think
John made the correct play.
I think the
Apollo was very late.
yeah, I think the idea to fight there was right, but he didn't wait for his team to get in position. Like if the Zhang, if he waited like 2 more seconds and then ulted instead of running in and trying to, I think if he gave up the buff, it would have been a fine play.
That was what you're looking. What you
Yes.
were looking for there was patience. He should have been more patient in that engagement and wait for Zhong to turn up. Zhong made the correct decision in that with the rotation.
For sure.
Apollo backed out of the engagement instead of firing auto attacks off, which is what he should have done. They could have got 2 kills out of that if Apollo actually got in the fight earlier. And Arachne got killed by Athena 1v1.
She was sitting in the lane very low. The Athena went to counter the blue, but then the Arachne showed herself in lane, and she immediately went and killed her.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
this
makes sense. I
Arachne's
guess he
just
could've got
not
two,
having
which
the
is
best
good.
time, unfortunately, in this lane.
But there was a few plays in that were interesting. I think Anher's decision making was really good on that engagement over on that left hand side as well. I like the pillar that he put down to slow Apollo's entry, which isolated the areas even more. And his impale to help save his Sylvanas in that engagement was also good. So some interesting plays from both the teams, some good decision making for the most part from some of them.
They're heavy rotating over to this Athena. But
I don't know. But it's hard to gank with Athena. It sounds really weird. Like she's
Yeah.
buying wards as well. But if she get you gank her, she can ult out. Her ult's
sure.
on cooldown currently at the moment though. But she has lots of escape mechanisms. She is a guardian, so she has natural tanky stats. You should probably be trying to abuse the other areas of the map, in all honesty, and not trying to focus on Athena because it's just not going to work out for you, I feel.
So let's
Especially if she's already winning lane, you know.
let's see what Ares tries to do here. At
he needs to give these up. He just needs to run. He needs to give these up.
Bad decision.
Yep.
No one's there. He's alone.
It's the
These
same thing
ults
at
on
that
cooldown.
blue buff.
Do you think it was worth the Kraken there?
Yes, because they don't necessarily have vision. on where
Exactly.
the rest of Blitz
That is-
was.
I agree
Adonis
100%
is
with that. Do you,
completely correct with that. He should
this
have used the
Gold Fury
Kraken
here.
just to make sure.
Hmm.
They do have vision of this because of the rotation in. Apollo's in the sky as well. This is a good call from Apollo to go in early. I like that call from him. It's going to buy his team enough time to get in and re-engage. That's going to
Thor's in
disengage
the,
the
I
Gold
think they
Fury.
need to give up the. Oh, they secured it.
Oh, they're going to
but
get it, but can Danny clean up? Danny's going to get one. He should be able to get two. Osiris should die here as well.
He's gonna have to disengage.
Why is he backing out? Why is he backing out?
Is his hammer on cooldown? His hammer? I couldn't tell.
They should have continued the chase as a team there. I don't think.
I think they
see a
were. I
reason.
think they were too scared of Zhang, but
Yeah.
Zhang doesn't really have that much damage online right now. He doesn't even have. If he had pin boots finished, that would have been a different story because of how well it scales.
Oh, how does that happen?
I don't. Hold on. I
I
want to.
saw the taunt come out into the.
Yeah.
Oh no.
This was a little bit before. This Arachne's just.
Arachne's decision to go sprint, I don't think is the correct one. She's already got heavy hammer, so why does she need to sprint?
She
as well
definitely
as the
needs
spiders.
Beads one at the very
She needs
least.
beads. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is that she needs a different active in the situation. Should be beads. It's one of the only ways she can get punished. I think it's quite happy to dive the tower.
She
and he
thinks she can
re-engaged.
fight this, and she can.
Yeah,
I think is what
but
it
the
comes
curse.
down to.
Oh, the curse coming out as well to slow the attack speed down. And I guess it's a re-engage as well that comes afterwards.
I think what it comes down to is Arachne is just taking poke every single wave. She's standing in melee range for the dash, being hit by that, and then also being hit by the taunt into the shield wall while Athena is clearing wave. So, like, Athena's doing both things at once, right? She's using her dash to damage minions and poke, and then she's using her shield wall to damage minions and poke. So, I think the Arachne just needs to sort of back up and let her do the damage to the archers while Arachne tries to clear the other archers, right? Does that make sense?
I
Yeah.
agree. I think the one thing that the thing about Arachne as well is what she's built with the heavy hammer and going sprint is all aggression. She does. Why get heavy hammer and sprint?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work out logically in your build because of the fact that you've got your web, and your web speeds you up when you walk on it anyway,
Now-
and it slows them. So why do you need that?
Do you think she got the sprint to counter the
slow from
the
Athena dash?
Well, that and the creeping curse that came
That's
out.
true.
from
For the
Athena.
creeping
To immune
curse.
it. That's actually yeah.
But you've
But-
got your ultimate to get out.
Right.
Like, if Athena's in your face, your job you would be wanting to fight her potentially. That's kind of what your game plan is. But I think in this matchup between Athena and Arachne, I just think Athena's itemized correctly in this one, and it's paid off for her, which is the correct decisions to make, honestly.
Yeah. I think the Arachne's made pretty poor decisions and allowed the Athena to get a little bit too ahead, and now the Arachne's in a bad place because of those early decisions.
Well, there's potential on the left-hand side for Ares to come
I
and
like
do some
this.
good work here,
This is
especially with the
great.
Athena ult as well. This is a great combination. They're
They just
not going
need
to
to-
get maximum damage though.
They need
did-
to switch. They need to finish off
Thor
the on
coming.
her there. Yep, great decision.
Keep an eye on Poseidon. Let's see what he tries to do here as he rotates in.
They need to
Poseidon
realize
can
that
get
Poseidon's
triple.
there. Yeah, I guess they knew where he was. They didn't really have vision on him though. That's kind of iffy.
Well,
that
they
stayed
saw
up
him
there.
rotate out of mid
Mhm.
because they have that ward on the top side of the mid harpies. So they knew he was on his way. They just didn't really know where he is. And that's something that's always very hard to judge with the Poseidon because he could be there in 5 seconds or 10 seconds, right? Because his passive gives him so much movement speed. And if he popped his 2, he would be even faster. So it's very hard to judge when a Poseidon is going to be rotating if you don't have him on wards.
I think Poseidon
Great
actually
timing
played
from
that.
Dandy on these.
Poseidon played that really, really well, in fairness. I really liked his decision making. He could have gone in for the Kraken, but he knew Zhang had rotated too. Instead, he didn't lose any farm by doing that rotation. What he did do, though, is provide his team an escape route because they
Oh,
wouldn't
did you
aggress
see
him more
that?
knowing-
The missed
Yeah,
hog.
the missed hog off the reset.
Sylvanas
is
just
very
needs to.
unfortunate.
There he goes. Great Aegis coming out.
Good Aegis.
They
Really
should
good
be able to
Aegis.
turn this
Yeah.
fight. They have Athena here. If she has dash up, is
Kraken's
the real
down.
question.
This is a bad fight for Red. This is a really bad fight for Red.
Oh, that's gonna be a kill going down on only.
That was a
Athena.
misplay from. That was a misplay from Athena. That was a misplay. She should have been. She could have got hold of Poseidon as well.
Right.
And she
They need to
chose
contest
just
these
secure
buffs
the
now,
kill
I
that was
think.
already dead.
Mhm.
I
Athena
really
could've
think they
played that
need to
better.
contest these buffs.
They could, but they're just going to reset. I mean, they could get more out of that. I agree. They just managed to pick up the support. It was a 1-for-1 trade though, because their jungler is dead. But
Poseidon was too low.
Poseidon's too
Arachne
low,
ult was
yeah.
used. Kraken was down.
I mean, we gave Athena some credit in the lane, but that was a small misplay there. She could have killed Poseidon as
sure.
well, but she went for the killing blow herself onto the Sylvanas, which wasn't required. He was already dead. She should have hunted that Poseidon down. It would have got a team a lot more, and then they could have potentially processed that speed and blue buff. Left hand side, Kretz
Oh,
going for a
no.
blink in. They go for a big play onto Harley here. He can't
He
jump.
needs. Ooh,
Oh.
he needed to hit a lot of. Oh,
He's going to get out. He's out. Desert Fury.
One so beautiful will finish him. It's
Harley
not up,
played that
though.
perfectly.
Yep.
Harley played that
Thor's in
perfectly.
the
and
air
now
too.
Thor's
He's
gonna
gonna
come in.
turn this fight. Easy.
So you want to know? You said he played it perfectly. I'll talk about it a little bit after this fight finishes here. What I didn't like from Harley right there is he tried to freeze the wave. He saw Apollo was there and he missed one creep, which was the Cyclops, and he didn't just clear the wave knowing that Ares was rotating over and everything like that. So he kind of put himself in that position just to try to freeze the wave.
I mean, to be honest, he was out of position, but when you get caught in a situation like that, it's about how you deal with that
Right,
situation, is the way I
exactly.
looked at it. For the situation he was in, he got himself into it, but he also got himself out of it to an extent.
Right.
It was more misplaced from blue team,
Yeah.
but Harley made the right decisions. He understood what he had to do was juke to the best of his extent. Apollo should have killed him, let's be straight up. Apollo should have
Yes,
dunked down there at
Apollo
the right
should
point,
have.
and he would have been dead, but Harley did the right thing at the right time. His decision making to actually stay and just bang back when he was back in safety tower range, knowing Thor was coming in, was the correct one too, because he baited Apollo to his death as well.
Right. Yeah, I mean, definitely good play coming out from on her there. You would like to see that Apollo do a little bit better with that ult, but you can't be too mad about it.
I
Looks
think
like
Ares
he might
learned
get
from
another
his
kill.
mistakes. He backed off of the fight.
Yeah.
He's still looking to be aggressive though, which is what you have to do. It seems most of his poke though is just getting healed up by that Sylvanas.
Yeah, unless he's landing all 3 chains on a carry, I don't think he's gonna have the damage anymore to really burn somebody down.
Oh my! It looks
Again.
like just looked like though Osiris ganked.
that
He
lane
was
was
once
pretty
again
much
though
over.
taking a lot of poke in that lane.
It's just the
I-
same thing, I think. The
Dandy in this jungle, he's played pretty well. I think mechanically he's made some really bad mistakes, but his rotations and
Yes.
his map awareness have been very, very good. for the
Apollo's
most
ulting,
part.
and this is not a good decision.
So something very small right there. Apollo was ulting, and on her took that time to hit those 4 to 5 free basic auto attacks before Apollo went into the air. You know, that could in itself really help your team out a lot when he lands.
Thor's ult is up. This is a little dangerous, and you're gonna see Thor come in the air here. Sylvanas ult perfectly. This is just yeah.
Oh,
that
that's a
that Kraken though
Yeah.
hit a good amount, but he doesn't have the damage. This fight is really all over.
I think that was a big Athena play there, hitting the 3-man taunt. I think a lot of that issue with that Gold Fury call was Ares was tanking it, right? And
Can we
he
replay
was
that whole
poked
fight
out.
back?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I actually thought that would go in Red's favor. I'm a little surprised Blue came out with that.
I'm surprised too. I want to point out because this felt like a desperate
Mm-hmm.
play for no reason. Blue didn't need to make a desperate play at this stage.
Right.
I mean, they're actually ahead in gold. So
Yeah.
it's
I
only
want to
just ahead.
see how Red did not come out with this because they should have had a perfect Thor into Kraken.
Like, take into account, exactly this is my point. Take into account the enemy team has Kraken available, Sylvanas ult available, and Thor ult available. And
I
you
think they
don't
just use
even
them on
ward-
different targets
you
on
don't
different
ward
times.
the Gold Fury entrance. You don't ward the Harpy entrance where Thor is ulting. Now, that should be warded if you're going to make this play. This is a small misplay from Blue. I guess they outplayed them to an extent, but
Dandy
We'll
went
see.
for the kill on a dead Ares instead of trying to set up for other kills for his team.
Yeah.
I think that was the big problem here. So they used 2 ultimates on an Ares
Look
who
at
was
this
already
taunt
dead.
that's about to come out right now.
That was great.
that was the double wombo. That was Osiris and Athena combining very, very well together.
Yeah, their
Very
team
well
their
together.
team
Jean.
comboed their abilities while Red was too dispersed and didn't go on the correct targets. Yeah, I think if Dandy had landed on 2 other targets into a Kraken, that fight would have gone in their favor. Also, something to note, is that a Shell?
Yep, Shell and Athena.
Yeah, Shell was really good there. No, that's
Sylvanas in
weakening.
that whole engagement just couldn't make up his mind. He should have been able to. Arachne in that was not there at the time. She saw the Athena rotation. She was late to it. I guess she should have just pushed. She should have pushed tower. She should have just taken tower. She was behind. I wouldn't have turned up if I was Arachne. I probably would have just stayed in lane and farmed and been like, you know I'm losing lane. I need to farm up and get myself back in the game.
For sure.
I should have taken the tower down though, and he should have stolen blue buff. Instead, all he's getting out of that is mid harpies. It's not good from the Arachne player.
Yeah,
In fairness, he should have done better.
Something I just noticed too, that was pointed out in chat, is that the Ares has no defenses. He just has winged blade, so he has a little bit of health, but he's not tanky at all, and was tanking that Gold Fury.
I mean, Windblade's good for the Poseidon, but Sovereignty not being online is going to hurt
I
his team.
think you build it, but you don't build that first. I think
Yeah,
Sovereignty
agreed.
right now is way too good to not build it. And if you're not going to build it, I don't think you should build an item with no protections.
No, I totally agree. I don't think you should be doing that at this stage. You should be looking for the sovereignty. On top of that, Ares' passive is also aura based, and sovereignty is the aura. So why would you like reduce the amount of damage you can do as Ares?
For sure.
Which is one of his strengths anyway. Cons low damage, you know. But you should be looking to try and abuse that situation as well as provide for your team. I don't agree with that decision at all. I mean, so far from this game, what stood out for you? I mean, obviously Athena's going to get some credit because of the way she's played this lane matchup against Arachne. Her itemization's been correct and she's abused the situation pretty well. As we saw another kill going down. I feel Dandy on the other side though has not played bad at all.
I think his map awareness has been really great, like you said.
That's where it's, yeah. His mechanics, he's made a lot of mistakes. He's making up for him though by good map awareness. Like he's missing a couple of walls that should be hit.
He knows what to do, he's just not executing it.
Exactly. For me, the others that have really stood out has been BM Harley and the Osiris Galeforce. I don't think BM Harley's played that bad. He's in a losing game to an extent, but his positioning has been pretty good. He's managed to deal with the situation a lot of the times.
I can't tell if it's that this Athena is really good, because I feel like the Arachne has made numerous mistakes. And I don't feel like I can't tell if the Athena's played astounding or not because of it. Because I've noticed way too many mistakes from the Arachne, and that's why she got ahead.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But, you know, at the same time, she came into those team fights and did what she needed to do.
Yes,
and,
for sure.
And really performed into that mid-game transition.
Just trying to see if there's anyone else that really stood out for me. There's a pause in the game anyway, so we might just bring this one to a close, guys. We've been over 15 minutes anyway. We'd normally bring a scout on, but the scout appears to be in the bathroom, from what I've understood. So, toilet's OP. Guys, we'll be back shortly after this little break, and we'll bring you the game from the next round shortly.